Hello and welcome. In today's podcast, we'll be discussing the command philosophy of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General T.A. Lagbaja. Leadership in the military is more than strategy. It's about vision, troops' welfare, discipline, and responsibility. We'll explore how General Lagbaja's philosophy impacts military operations, troop welfare, and national security efforts in Nigeria. If you believe in the importance of understanding military leadership, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future episodes. Also, share this video with your network to spread awareness, because building a safer, stronger Nigeria starts with leadership. Let's get started.
Ever wonder what goes on behind the scenes,
Well.
like in a military operation, What are they thinking? What's the strategy?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this deep dive, we're getting into all that with the Nigerian Army. But, and this is key, we're not getting bogged down in the weeds of, battalions and brigades.
Right.
We're going way deeper, looking at their command philosophy.
And you've got incredible source material for this. It's a restricted pamphlet, very hush-hush, outlining the new Chief of Army Staff's vision. It's a rare look, I think, a really rare look at how they see their role in a place as complex, as volatile as Nigeria.
So let's jump right in. Right away, the pamphlet lays out the Nigerian Army's mission statement: to win all land battles and confront other security threats, to protect Nigeria's sovereignty. Now, tell me that win all land battles part doesn't grab your attention.
No mincing words there. And that really sets the tone, I think.
Definitely. It's not about holding back or just defending. It's about going after it. Victory, plain and simple.
Exactly. It's about taking the initiative, being proactive, even assertive. They're not shying away from that.
And the man behind this vision, the driving force, that's Lieutenant General T.A. Lagbaja, the Chief of Army Staff. He wrote this pamphlet.
It's essentially his manifesto.
Exactly. This is his roadmap for the Nigerian Army under his command.
Yeah.
It's like we've got his strategic playbook right here.
Precisely. It tells us what he prioritizes, what he expects. It's a framework for understanding his whole approach to leadership, to strategy, everything.
Okay, so we've got the roadmap. What are the big things he's pointing out? The key landmarks, so to speak.
Well, Lagbaja's command philosophy has three main pillars, three foundations for everything else: leadership, operational effectiveness, and then administration.
3 pillars. Got it. So let's talk about that first pillar, leadership. What kind of leader does he want to be? And more importantly, what does he expect from the other commanders?
He lays out 4 key elements within leadership: unity of purpose, mutual trust, audacity, and then leading by example. Strong leadership, he's saying, is fundamental.
Okay, so let's break those down, starting with unity of purpose. What does that even look like in the military?
It means everyone's on the same page strategically. The top brass, the boots on the ground, everyone, no one's going off on their own, no conflicting priorities.
Like a laser focus?
Exactly. Laser focus on the mission.
Yeah, makes sense. A divided house can't stand, right? Can't very well win all battles if you're fighting among yourselves. But then there's mutual trust, which is interesting. It seems kind of strange, a little counterintuitive in such a, rigid structure like the military, isn't it?
It's an interesting juxtaposition, that's for sure. But Lagbaja emphasizes mentorship. He sees that as key to building trust between commanders and those under them.
So it's not just about giving orders. It's about, guiding?
Yeah.
Developing the soldiers.
Exactly.
Okay, makes sense. Next up, audacity. Is he saying commanders should be reckless? Because winning all battles has a certain,
It does, doesn't it?
go for broke feel to it.
But that's not what he means at all. Audacity in this context means being bold, being proactive, taking smart risks. It's about seizing the initiative. Remember that. Win all battles.
Oh, I see. Okay.
This is where it comes in. He wants them thinking offensively, strategically, not just defensively.
A bold leader inspires trust, gets everyone on the same page. That's the Lagbaja leadership model. What about leading by example? Seems pretty self-explanatory.
You'd think so, but this one, he's very clear. It's non-negotiable. Commanders have to embody the values they preach. No hypocrisy, no double standards. You got to walk the walk.
It's really interesting how much he talks about leadership before he even mentions combat.
Right.
It's like he's saying the most important weapon or tool or whatever is leadership.
Absolutely. Because who's wielding those weapons? Who's making those strategic decisions?
Exactly.
It all comes back to leadership. To achieve those big goals, he needs leaders who inspire, who motivate, who set the standard for everyone else.
Who walk the walk? Okay, so that's leadership, the who. Now let's get into the how. His second pillar is operational effectiveness, how he wants the Nigerian Army to actually operate in the field.
And this is where you see that mix, that blend of like classic military stuff with a really modern approach. He breaks it down into 5 key elements: combat readiness, synergy, information and intelligence, innovation, and then sustenance. And each one of those, they're all crucial to his vision of a modern army, adaptable and, yeah, ultimately victorious.
Victorious, there's that word again. Okay, so let's break it down. Combat readiness. What makes an army ready for combat, in Lagbaja's view?
This is another one of those non-negotiables for him. He says the army has to be ready for anything, anytime, any place.
So, like, ready to deploy at a moment's notice.
Exactly. And that means having the right equipment, the right training, the logistics, the whole 9 yards to support any operation, no matter how unexpected.
So it's not just about having tons of soldiers with the biggest guns. It's about being prepared for the specific challenge, the specific situation.
100%. And it's interesting, when he talks about training, he specifically mentions gender mainstreaming.
Oh, I noticed that too.
Which tells you something, I think, about how he sees the role of women in the military evolving.
Absolutely. It's about making the army more inclusive, more effective, making sure everyone has a chance to contribute, regardless of gender. Okay, so we've got being ready. What's next? Synergy.
So this one's all about collaboration, and not just within the Army itself, but with other branches of the military, the Air Force, the Navy, and even with civilian agencies.
Which makes sense when you think about the kind of threats Nigeria is facing. It's not just one branch of the military's problem anymore.
Exactly. It's messy, it's complex, those lines are blurred. You've got Boko Haram in the northeast, you've got resource conflicts, and then there's piracy off the coast.
Right, it's all connected.
So you need everyone working together, coordinating to really tackle those multidimensional challenges.
Everyone on the same page. Okay, so we've got to be ready to fight, and we've got to be able to work together to do it. Now let's talk information and intelligence and innovation. These seem really important, especially today.
They are. He's basically saying you can't just be strong, you have to be smart too. Lagbaja is a big believer in technology, but also in human intelligence.
So using things like drones, surveillance tech, all of that.
Sure, but also boots on the ground intel. People who understand the local context, who can build relationships, gather information that a satellite just can't get.
Right, because technology can only take you so far.
Exactly. And it's not just about gathering intel, but protecting your own. He talks about operational security, basically, making sure your plans, your movements, they don't fall into the wrong hands.
So being strategic about information, what you share and what you keep close.
Exactly. Like a game of chess, really. You've got to anticipate their moves while you're protecting yours.
Okay, that makes sense. We've got being prepared, being collaborative, being smart about it all. What about innovation? What does that mean in this context? Is he talking about new weapon systems, new tech?
He's thinking bigger picture than that. He wants to create a culture of, like, creative problem solving within the Army. He wants soldiers, all of them, to come up with new ideas, new solutions.
Adaptability.
Yes. And that's key because the battlefield is changing so fast. So he wants the Nigerian Army to be proactive, anticipating threats, coming up with new ways of dealing with them, not just reacting, but being ahead of the curve. And then that brings us to the last point under operational effectiveness: sustenance.
Which might not sound as exciting as, like, drones and cyber warfare.
Maybe not, but it's essential. Because winning a battle is one thing, but holding that ground, keeping the operation going, especially in a place like Nigeria, that's tough.
Especially with the geography, the climate, all
Yeah.
the challenges there.
Exactly. So he's talking about logistics, supply lines, maintenance, medical evacuations, all the things that keep an army running long term.
It's about the long game.
Exactly. You need the stamina to win the war, not just the battle.
That's a great point. So we've covered leadership, which is like the foundation, and operational effectiveness,
Right.
which is the practical how-to. Now, what about the people who make up this army, the individuals?
That's where his third pillar comes in administration. Because an army isn't just about fighting, it's about people, and people have needs. And if you want that army to function, to be effective, you have to address those needs.
It's like they say an army marches on its stomach. Doesn't matter how good your strategy is if everyone's too tired and hungry to fight.
Exactly. And Lagbaja gets that. He understands that human element, you know? That's why his third pillar, administration, it's all about the people.
Okay, so what's he doing about it? What's under that administration umbrella?
3 main things: welfare, support for the home front, and then sanctions and rewards.
Let's start with welfare. What's he doing to, I don't know, make life better for the average soldier.
He's trying to cover it all, really. Decent housing, good medical care, educational opportunities for their families. He's recognizing that it's not just about physical needs, but mental and emotional well-being too. And not just the soldier, but their family as well.
It's interesting, that emphasis on family. Like, it's acknowledging that being a soldier, it's not just a job, it's like their whole life.
It really is. And he addresses that directly with support for the home front.
Yeah.
He's talking about strengthening the support systems for military families.
Which could mean a lot of things.
Right. Counseling, financial assistance, even just like building a sense of community. Because military families, they face unique challenges.
So it's about having their back, making sure they're taken care of.
Exactly. A soldier who knows their family is okay, they can focus on the mission. They can focus on, winning those battles.
Which brings us to the last part of the administration: sanctions and rewards.
The carrot and the stick. You could put it that way. Lagbaja believes in recognizing and rewarding good work, bravery, performance, upholding the Army's values, all of that. But he also believes in accountability. If you mess up, there are consequences.
So maintaining discipline, upholding those standards he keeps talking about.
Yeah, exactly. It's about fairness, but it's also about accountability. Everyone's held to the same standard.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. We've gone from this big picture vision of winning all battles to, like, the details of logistics and taking care of soldiers.
And it's all connected.
Right. It's clear that Lagbaja has a plan, a very clear plan for where he wants to take the Nigerian Army.
He does. And this pamphlet, it's more than just words on a page. It's like he's issuing a challenge to everyone in the Army to step up, to embrace these ideas, to make this vision a reality.
It makes you think about what these soldiers are facing, the weight on their shoulders.
It does. And it reminds us that an army is made up of people, real people, with families and lives and hopes and fears.
Right. And their decisions, what they do, it has a ripple effect.
It really does. It goes way beyond the battlefield.
It does. It makes you think. And, one thing that struck me was that line at the very end of the pamphlet. Just those 3 words: God bless us all.
Yeah. It's a simple statement, but it's powerful.
It is. It's like, even in the middle of all this talk about strategy and combat, there's still this, this hope for peace, for something better.
There's always hope.
And on that note, we'll leave you to think about it all. The challenges, the complexities, but also that hope for a better future. This has been our deep dive into the Nigerian Army's command philosophy. Until next time.
Thank you for joining this insightful exploration of the command philosophy of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General T.A. Lagbaja. If you found this content informative, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on future episodes. We'd love to hear from you. Use the comment section to suggest the next topic or book you'd like us to discuss in future podcasts or videos. Don't forget to share this podcast with your network, because understanding leadership is key to building a secure and prosperous nation. See you in the next episode.